I'm sorry, I feel like I should click again. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about season 2, where you're going with your character?
Season 3.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
We were just talking.
I can
about
tell you
two.
lots about season 2, but you've probably seen it all. It's going to be a huge journey for previously in previous seasons. All the characters have had an arc, which. Or rather, that's not true. Not all the characters have had the arc that perhaps they could have deserved, and a lot of the time one character will sort of take the mantle of an arc for the season and the rest of the people will revolve around it, and Leonardo will be the anchor throughout. This season we've managed to hopefully give a really clear character through line for each and every one, and so it's going to be far more emotionally satisfying and far more characterful and rich and deep and interesting. I was saying to
Good morning.
I was trying to explain it, or find a way to describe what good television does that you can't quite put your finger on. I feel this. I've seen a few of the episodes. It's that feeling of creeping. Does that make sense? Where you just feel a show just kind of stick its hooks into you, slow investing, and you're not quite sure why you're enjoying it, but you are. Sort of The Wire always had that in True Detective. And this is fantastic. And it's got that feeling for the first time, which we're really proud of.
You were downstairs yesterday.
I was.
You had a pretty big crowd. Were you kind of surprised that
Yes.
it was?
Yeah, unprepared.
I heard some fangirling going on down there.
There was some screaming, which I'm not used to. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a shame there was a microphone that didn't work, so I couldn't speak to anyone. It was all set up to go, and then no one could hear me. So there's only so many times people shouting, "The mic doesn't work!" from the back. And I just go, "I'm sorry." Be very British about it. It was great though. That's the best thing about Comic-Con, and to be honest, about the show for us, in that we work in a Ford factory off a motorway in the UK, and we don't see daylight. And to actually come out to a place like this and see that there are people out here who love it and are obsessed with it and know it inside out, it's the best thing. I love it. I love seeing the fan reaction.
Although this is the origin story of Da Vinci, did you feel any pressure playing such an iconic role?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because it's an incredible. At one time, I felt huge liberty to play with it, because there is no version of Leonardo like this, and David was very clear in saying this is going to be a crazy version of him. But at the same time, people have a very set image in their head of who Da Vinci is, whether that's correct or not, and without having done the research on him in his 20s and 30s, that version in their head is a man in his 60s who's incredibly sage and wise and philosophical, which isn't someone he became for many years. So it's been trying to please both sides of that argument has been tricky.
Are you actually able to draw, and is that you doing any of it?
It's me doing it, but I wouldn't be able to do it from scratch. We've got a fantastic artist on the set who does all Leonardo's designs, and he gives me various stages, and then I have to learn the middle bit. So I am sort of drawing the inner sections, and then when you cut it together, it looks like I am. But no, it's not me. If I had to do it from scratch, it would be awful. I'd put people's faces on backwards. It'd be close to Picasso than Da Vinci.
You knocked it out of the park this year on Doctor Who. Can you talk a little bit about what
thanks.
that was like? You were the highlight, truly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, how was that?
It's the best. I've been a Doctor Who fan, a Whovian since I was a kid, since I was 8. And I loved being on set. I loved hanging out in the TARDIS. I didn't even need to be in there, just taking cheeky selfies in the TARDIS to email my friends and family. But really, what was a treat was seeing Peter begin to work out who his Doctor was, being very adamant of how he was going to approach the character differently, what he wanted to do, and how he wanted to give the character an arc and a journey. Very clear about, very careful with it. How he wanted to grow him over episodes and have him not sure who he was at the beginning. It's all planned, and it's been beautiful seeing the reaction and seeing people warm up to him, because that is literally his design, and it's wonderful to see it working. But actually getting a chance to work with him, who I've always loved even before he was the Doctor, and Jenna, and wave the sonic screwdriver around, even though I wasn't supposed to. That was fun. They're very precious about them. There's the two of them, and if you break one, you're in trouble.
Which has been since now the most challenging scene to shoot in this season?
There's a lot of water stuff. We get wet a lot in the show, and it's not the warmest place in the world we film. So it's pretending you're in Tuscany while you've got nipples that can cut glass and you can see your own breath while you're soaking wet. That's been the biggest challenge, and continues to be. I'm about to go back and do even more of that. So yeah, more challenges ahead of that ilk.
Why did you originally go for this role?
Well, it was originally, I mean, what's interesting is that David's pitch for the show, it's funny because without wanting to do any disservice to the work we've done before, I feel like this season is the show we always thought we were making or set out to make. It's finally found its feet. John's got a very good point in a lot of shows, this would be the end of the first season. It was a network show, 20, however many episodes in, 22, 23 episodes, this network. And it's finally found its feet and got what we wanted it to be, and that vision of what the show could be was what always attracted me, what always made me think like I want to be part of that show. And it's something David has set up, given a full arc to, and John's taken the reins of and let it fly. So yeah, being a part of what we've become.
Do you have a favorite painting or one of his sketches, like his creations of anything?
Yeah, I do. He did an anatomy. He was obsessed with anatomy, and it's something that not many people, or it doesn't get as much credit as his artistry or his inventions. In that he was obsessed with dissecting human bodies, and he did an incredible anatomy. Anatomical experimentation for a huge period in his life, and then those papers were smuggled away by the British royal family, and they had an exhibition at Buckingham Palace recently. I went to see it, and all of it was in black and white, everything, except right at the end where he'd drawn what he perceived a baby to look like in the womb, and he couldn't resist painting it red. So around everything else, it's the only thing with colour, and it was just a kind of nod to artistry and creativity and sensitivity amongst all the sides. I just thought that kind of summed up who he could be, or my version of him could be.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Nice to meet you.
Awesome.